Good morning, and welcome to another mundane episode of Diatribes from the Voice of Doom. Now here's your morose and moribund host, Voice of Doom. Hello. Okay, gonna do another episode because I'm getting back into the swing of things and I have a lot to say. So put your thinking caps on and you might want to take notes. Alright, first, the microcosm. Got a call from Benjamin last night. He called me from Camp Arif John in Kuwait City. And he updated me on the situation over there. And I will tell you unequivocally that the U.S. military is not all that they claim to be. They're very disorganized. And it's kind of a crapshoot once you get in there as to what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to do it. They're not big on giving you instructions ahead of time. They let you try to figure it out for yourself, and if you have any questions, you just track down your commanding officer and try to figure it out. Or you do it on your own and end up being wrong and you get in trouble. He is in a base where there's 9,000 personnel, and it's got a lot of amenities there. It's got a Starbucks, it's got two Subways, it's got a Chili's, it's got a Burger King, some other fast food places, which he says he doesn't go to too often. I asked him what duties he's performed since he's gotten there, and he said not much, except they trained him on how to drive around the base, because there's rules on how you drive around the base. In 2 days, he will be flying to Air Base Al Dhafra in the United Arab Emirates. I looked it up on the map. It is about 20 miles from the coast on the Straits of Hormuz. If you don't know what that is, it's a bottleneck in the Persian Gulf where many tankers go back and forth, and it's a hot spot. It's been that way for years, and so we'll see what happens with that. But I told him about stuff I've heard that I wanted him to look out for and to be careful of. For instance, a Afghanistan vet came back to stateside and was told that he would have to pay for the equipment that he left in Afghanistan by the orders of his superiors. So I look at that as a sign that our so-called military is not a good organization. So take that for what it's worth. And I'll get more information when he gets to UAE in a few days, and I'll let you know. But he's realizing that it's very precarious because you can follow orders and still get in trouble. But we'll leave that there for now, and I want to talk to you about some important stuff and explain some stuff to you. This may be either a long diatribe or a two-parter, because I have a lot I need to explain to you. And I'm going to start by reading. Buddhism teaches that human happiness is based on the law of cause and effect. Different from the concept of causality in the natural or social sciences, the Buddhist principle of cause and effect concerns one's inner life first and foremost. Suppose a student studies hard for an examination and passes it with high marks. Diligent study is the cause, and passing is the effect. But there is always some medium which connects the cause to the effect. And in this case, the medium is the act of taking the exam. A medium, as such, functions in two ways. It produces an effect and contributes to forming a new cause. The same amount of effort, however, does not necessarily lead to the same results. Some students naturally have good memories, while others tend to forget things quickly. The important question is what produces such differences between individuals. Buddhism attributes the cause to one's way of life in previous existences. One's individuality and natural abilities are the effects of causes established in previous lifetimes. In this regard, Buddhism is very different from the doctrine of some Western religions, which hold that God predetermines the course of one's life in this world. Buddhism asserts that each individual is responsible for his own destiny and at the same time has the prerogative to change it for the better and develop his character in the future. This means that a person with a weak memory does not have to resign himself to his fate. If he realizes his weak point, he may start preparations for a test earlier than others, so that he can memorize the study materials effectively and completely. Thus he will be able to overcome his disadvantage. Instead of depending on his weak memory, he can compensate for it by improving his understanding. By being aware of one's own strengths, weaknesses, and inclinations, it is possible to develop the strong points and improve the weak ones. This is the correct way to surmount the restraints of destiny. Even so, one must have enough power to enjoy freedom by making the law of cause and effect work to his advantage. Nichiren Daishonin elucidated the way to increase one's life force and wisdom so as to be able to attain freedom far beyond what one can attain with conscious effort alone. Since destiny is the product or effect of our past efforts, as determined by the law of causality, we cannot avoid its effects. Nonetheless, we do not have to be resigned. If we stand firmly on the riverbed of life, the mystic law, that is the entity of life, not even the torrents of karma or destiny can carry us away. By establishing an unshakable foundation, we gain the liberty to act on our own will. So, karma equals destiny. That's a very simple but complex concept. Now, saw Neil deGrasse Tyson, who seems to be addicted to being in the media, an astrophysicist, a smart guy, a guy that can explain things in simple terms for us laymen to understand, but a bit egocentric. He seems to know everything, I guess. And he explained very clearly that when we die, we go into nothingness, and that's it. Before we were born, we were nothing, and after we die, we are nothing. So that's where he and I part ways. He said, well, it's good to have faith, but you came from nothing and you'll go to nothing. So you have one lifetime to live, so live it to the fullest. It's not too fair to people who die when they're 3. Not too fair for beings or entities that are aborted before they're allowed to be born. Oh, I had my chance, but that's that. So, in order to have faith, you have to have faith in the fact that life is eternal. There's a spark in your being, inscrutable, unexplainable, which travels throughout space and time, from lifetime to lifetime. Just a little something to tell you. It's not that deep. But let's apply this to what's been happening lately, so that I can explain why things happen the way they happen. Petri dish is going from bad to worse. Now, I told you many months, if not years ago, that you cannot reverse your trajectory. If you begin going into the throes of dementia, you will continue to degenerate. You will not improve. And I said that there will come a day when Petri will do something that no one will be able to ignore. And it'll be horrendous. I won't say what that could possibly be, but let's talk about this latest encounter he had with one of his constituents. He's in front of a crowd of supporters, sycophants, and apparatchiks from the public clay, the common clay. And the first thing he does is walk up to a little girl who's about 6 or 7, starts talking about her ears and how cool they are, and, oh, are you 17, and saying all kinds of weird things, and everybody talked about how weird he was acting. But every single person seemed to have missed something that he said. He says, "What's your name?" And she clearly said her name was Jasmine. And she goes, "Oh, what a nice name. That's my mommy's name." His mother's name was Catherine. Now, he heard Catherine. She said Jasmine. But whatever, he'll lie about everything. He'll lie about his own parentage, his father who instilled such great principles into his mind. His father was a used car salesman. Okay? So all these anecdotes and fables about how his father taught him how to accept gay people and taught him integrity and how people need breathing room. It's all a sack of crap. But that's just a little anecdote about Petri. Now, this is going to be a two-parter, I can tell, because I'm already at 12 minutes. First of all, the election, they're starting to talk about it in earnest. And they're pretty much resigned to the fact that they need to get rid of Petri, but they may not be able to because Petri is an egocentric, demented psychopath who's not going to want to drop out of the race for the good of the people of what used to be America. He doesn't care about that one bit. And Orangey is the front runner, and he gets stronger with every indictment that comes his way. I am going to have to be a naysayer. Not that I care about the election, I would prefer there wasn't one. I think we'd be best off with a military coup d'etat. Otherwise, we're done. These elections, as anyone over the age of 10 can see, have been useless. Nothing changes. We just go from bad to worse because the powers that be want an oligarchy worldwide where the elitists are in charge and the common clay are either slaves or dead. But I'm going to make a prediction, if there is an election, that the candidates for president in the major parties will be Gavin Newsom versus Ron DeSantis. And that's just the way it is. I'm sorry. I like Orangey. I think if he came back, he would be a lame duck president right away. So he would be free to start his reign of terror on the D's, which I endorse. But, first of all, Petri dish will not make it to the end of the year. He's eventually going to go up to a little girl and do something catastrophic because he can't help himself. He's not in control of his mind. And his karma from millions of previous lifetimes is to be born as a corrupt president of what used to be the United States, and doing it through deceptions, lies, and incompetence. Now, somehow they're going to have to shuttle him off the stage by hook or crook. Orangey will not be the nominee by hook or crook. And the more support and the more he goes up in the polls, the more likely it is he will not be the nominee. And I won't tell you how they could do it, but go back into history. They're not going to want that. The elitists have made great strides in the last 4 years. They're not going to want to go back to a populist president who cares about the American clay. Not going to have it. It doesn't matter how it's done. So that's my prediction about that. But karma. What is karma? It is destiny. And it explains many things. Why do so many people hate Orangey? I've already told you why. It's because in previous lifetime he was a despot, and he oppressed millions of people on a planet somewhere. And those millions of people have all been reborn on this planet with Orangey, and they hate him and they don't know why. I can explain to them why better than they can. And I've already explained that. That's how the law of cause and effect and how karma works. You were a despot. Now you are a very powerful person who may do good for this planet, but there's going to be intractable people who wouldn't vote for you if you cured cancer and stopped every war on this globe, because they remember deep in their psyche, deep in the very recesses of their being, that he's bad. Now let's explain why we don't have to have undue concern about the population of Palestine. They chose to be born in the situation they were born in. I have been a slanderer of the mystic law. Lifetime after lifetime, I have to pay penance. I am going to be reborn into a culture, an environment that fosters hatred into me, which I will either overcome or succumb. I talked about the Afghani kids in the sewer during that brilliant retreat by Petri dish. People felt sorry for the kids. And I postulate that those kids may have been SS soldiers in World War II in a previous lifetime. They're paying. It's not fair, but it is fair. And you can still have compassion for them now, but you realize that they're paying. Same thing now with the Palestinian children. They're being used as human shields. It's not fair that Israel is decimating Gaza and killing so many civilians. All those civilians are paying for previous sins. Okay? Doesn't that make it much easier to understand? I don't know why people can't come up with this stuff by themselves. But maybe that's my karma and destiny, is to explain at least to two people, Nick and Mofo, why things are the way they are, so we can rest easy about what's happening. So I will continue more about this subject, because the subject of karma is a very deep one, and I think it explains a lot, and you can apply it to so many things. You can apply it to the idiots, the wokesters. They were born at a time when they are demonstrating for this or for that, for their pronouns. And I've already explained before that we are living in a day and age that is very close to the precipice of the destruction of all humankind. So people are more in touch with their past. And by past, I mean the long distant past. So if they think they're foxes, if they think they're dogs, if they think they're two spirits, if they think they're bearded ladies, if they think they're men with big, huge glasses and whatever, very high-pitched, squeaky voice, that's because they are in touch with their past. And it's very confusing. But it's already over 20 minutes. I knew this would be a long one. And I'm going to talk more about this later, but I think I gave you quite a bit to think about. So we'll leave it there and enjoy the rest of the day. I feel good about myself. I didn't gamble my money yesterday. And I feel good about that because maybe I can improve. So, arrivederci America. And I'll see you later. Bye.